Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 4 in the series between Moon and 120. I apologize already at the very beginning. Apparently my game number 1 did end up getting corrupted in this particular series, but I guess that will make this series that much more difficult to predict who is going to win in the end, as we are now in game number 4. Now, one thing I do have to note that I don't really like to talk about, apparently there has been changes to YouTube ad revenue, and I'm actually making about a third of what I've been making in months past. Now, I'm not talking about from my heyday. I'm actually talking about from just this last December. I'm actually down to a third, and the costs of the internet and everything else in order to upload these high quality games, well, it is starting to take a little bit of a toll on my pocketbook. If you guys could support me through Patreon or through PayPal, please definitely do so. It's not something I really ask about all too often. I think I have been asking lately, but with this latest round of revenue getting cut as hard as it was, everyone's just been saying, you know what, just ask your viewers for your support. They may surprise you. So if you guys have not already done so, please like, please subscribe. That will help with the views. And who knows, maybe if I can get triple the number of views on my videos, then I won't need the support anyways. So there's another way to look at it. Thank you everyone, as we are now here in game number 4. Archer going to go ahead, get trained up, as we do see a ghoul already out. The ghoul decided to try and aggro the archer, but then decided to back off. We are going to be looking at a warden.
Forces are under attack.
As the backup, as the hero, as you can see, the wisp are now getting into a little bit of trouble. What's going to happen here? That wisp is taking a bit of damage. Will that ghoul be able to catch up? It does not look like it. Meanwhile, the ghouls are off over here, going to try and engage, and in comes the warden. All right, as soon as that ghoul spots the warden knows that it is going to be a very bad day indeed. Units are now trying to back off here. This is going to be a very difficult spot to be in, as there are more ghouls now showing up to the party. This is a very intensive strategy, and Moon is going to have to micro every which way to get everything just right. Sobi Mask has been picked up. You can see a little bit of damage coming across every which way here, as the warden has done a lot of damage here with double or fan of knives, really doing a lot more damage than I would have expected. And now all of a sudden, all of these low hit point units could actually end up getting taken down. All right, let's take a look at this. There's a shadow strike right there. Death Knight gonna try and engage once more. It looks as though that wisp could end up getting detonated here in just a moment. There's a detonation, but not before taking down the skeletal minion first, as the warden now makes his way off to the north. Her way off to the north. The warden now should be able to catch up to that ghoul. Ghoul is relatively slow. Will the Sobi Mask be able to regenerate enough mana in time? That is the big question there, as the ghoul is still trying to get away. Death Knight opted to go with Unholy Aura first. Did end up becoming a little bit faster, but that may not make much of a difference at all, as the warden is not going to be able to get the final strike off onto that low hit point ghoul. Let's take a look. No Nerubian Tower, surprisingly, but does not want to risk it. Does not want to get caught in a very difficult situation, as the Sobi Mask finally does its job, getting that warden up to 76 mana. Ancient of War off in position. There is a bit of repairing already getting underway as well. Is that Wisp going to cause a detonation? That is a big question there, as the archer trying to get into harm's way here. Wisp down to 48 hit points. May end up getting detonated here in just a moment. Down to 19 hit points. It looks as though it is going to end up taking a little bit of damage here. It shouldn't end up falling, as the Death Knight is trying to go after that target. Is it going to end up getting canceled? Oh, there's the cancellation right there. Could have healed. There it goes, as the skeletal minions end up getting taken down there. Meanwhile, back off to the north, Warden ends up taking a bit of cold damage from that Nerubian Tower. The Warden looks as though it did not use any mana, so no additional shadow strikes here, as the ghouls are now clearing out of a 3-1-1 creep camp. All right, are we going to see perhaps a fan of knives here? That is the big question there. You can see a little bit of damage. There's a shadow strike. Are we going to see a fan of knives? No fan of knives right there, as that low hit point ghoul down to 98 hit points, trying to get away. Warden still wandering around every which way, though, causing a bit more confusion there, as the ghoul will head off, escaping with about 61 hit points. Warden now heads back home, needs to get a little bit more mana, does have the boots of speed and the mantle of intelligence. That will definitely help. but it looks as though the army of ghouls just may be far too much. Will the Warden be able to perhaps get some additional item? Cloak of Shadows, the most useless item on a Warden possible, as it already does have the Shadow Meld ability, as the Warden now makes her way back down. Alright, gonna go ahead and engage. Death Knight does have level 2. That is gonna cause some problems, as the Warden may try and perhaps get some damage. There is a Death Coil right there, as we now looking at a Shadow Strike. Oh, that is a really poorly timed Death Coil. Comes just in time. The Death Knight's Death Coil on cooldown, but it looked like it completed just right, as the Warden is still trying to chase after that target. Shadow Strike onto a new ghoul. Death Knight is going to be forced to use another Death Coil onto that ghoul instead, unless the units can once again get in front of that target. Death Knight right here looks as though he wants to save that mana if at all possible. Warden trying to get in front of that target. Will it be able to get enough damage there? That's another strike off. Is he going to get another Shadow Strike onto a different unit again? No, decides against it, as the Warden is halfway to level 3 and may try and go for something else. Alright, Death Knight is right here. Archers are all Shadow Melded. This is a beautiful trap, I might add. Gonna get just perhaps a Shadow Strike onto a low hit point ghoul, and there you have it. All of a sudden that ghoul is gonna have to run the other way. Perhaps that trap should have been sprung earlier, allowing the archers to get in more damage again. Death Knight is right there. Should be able to get off another Death Coil here in just a moment. Death Knight doing a great job. 120, limiting the amount of damage that this Warden is really dealing. And I believe once the Death Knight gets ahead of that Warden in terms of experience, well, that Warden is not going to be in as good of a spot. Alright, Warden could be trying to chase after here. Ghoul is now trying to get back away. We could be looking at a Naga Sea Witch. No, Ghouls are trying to head back off to the north here. A bunch of low hit point units being able to back off. Meanwhile, the archers are trying to do more creeping away from all of the action, as we're now looking at, well, let's take a look at that. That Kobold does get taken down. Death Knight gonna finish off this target here, picks up a Cloak of Shadows as well, as the Warden tries to finish off more units once again. Alright, archers gonna absolutely destroy that skeletal minion right there. Tree of Life is already done, as Moon is gonna be moving forward with the economic advantage, but we should be looking at tier 2 momentarily, and a Lich or a Naga Sea Witch. Alright, wait, no, excuse me, we already are at tier 2. We might be looking at tier 3 with the Naga Sea Witch, as the Lich now makes its way over. Death Knight is in position. I believe that Potion of Healing gonna be transferred to that Death Knight eventually, as the Warden needs to back off. That Sobi Mask really doing a great job keeping that Warden just topped out on mana consistently, as the skeletal minion could end up getting taken down there. Frost Nova quickly melts apart one Wisp there, as we now see the units now looking to back off once more. Now, Ancients of Lore are training up Dryads. We are going into Tree of Eternity, but until then, those Crypt Fiends are going to have an absolute field day. Huntresses are not very strong counters to Crypt Fiends, because they themselves are weak to that, weak to the damage and the focus fire of those Crypt Fiends. Bears is really the true answer for the Night Elf, and until then, even these Dryads are going to actually have a hard time. What may end up happening if the game does go long is that even though Moon is going to have more replacements, he's not going to have a large enough army to really deal with this initial wave of ghouls and Crypt Fiends. And then, as the Dryads and other units are slowly picked off one by one, the Undead may pull away with that hero level advantage. Now, is that going to be the case though? No, Warden is right here nearby, ready to steal a bit of experience. Let's take a look at this. There is that level 3, or there it is. Is it going to be able to pick it up? Yes, it does pick up a cloak, a Scroll of the Beast. Gets off a Fan of Knives as well, as the Ancient of War is still here, taking a lot of damage. That Sasquatch about to be taken down. Ancient of War going to go ahead and root itself once more. Tome of Strength now being left behind. We are at adept training already. The bears, well, the bears are not very useful until they are in that bear form. A Death Coil Frost Nova from a 3-1 combination removes about half of the hit points on a Druid of the Claw while still in Druid form. There goes that last Acolyte here. We only see one Crypt Fiend though. That may end up becoming a problem. Not having enough Crypt Fiends to deal with those Dryads could end up becoming the issue, as there's a big Fan of Knives right there. Alright, big Fan of Knives quickly being counteracted by the Obsidian statues here. Ancient of War trying to get in position. Dark Ranger is off over here as well. Do we see destroyers? No, we do not. As the Ancient of War, 53 over 60 supply. We are currently a little bit upside down on supply. Dark Ranger trying to get some shots off onto that target right there. Lich gonna get some damage in as well, as it is able to focus onto a Druid of the Claw. This is not looking good until those Druids of the Claw are actually going to be bears. It is about... No, they are bears. They can engage right now. Not quite sure why they aren't. They are at tier 2. There's a rejuvenation onto the Warden as we are now trying to engage once more. All right, Ancient Protector off over here, still throwing those boulders, as we still have all of the ghouls finishing off this building fairly fast. All right, bears are ready to go. There they go, finally go in that bear form. And now what's going to be happening next? Big fan of knives straight up the center. All the units are now looking to back off. Bears are in position. Big scroll of healing, I believe, was used right there as the Death Knight now gets up to level 3. Death Knight going to continue to try and fight off over here. There's another big fan of knives. Do we see another scroll of healing? That is the big question, as the ghouls are all trying to stay alive here. It looks like one low hit point ghoul could get taken out, trying to focus down all of these units. And now we are just completely surrounded in this sea of Night Elf. And that is going to be the problem as units start falling for the Undead. The hero level advantage, level 4 Warden, going to get stronger and stronger as the Death Coil does save one destroyer. Not enough Crypt Fiends to deal with the Dryads. Yes, there is the destroyer, but what's the point when it cannot even stop to attack a bear? All right, there goes that destroyer there, and Moon looks like he's going to absolutely tear this apart. There goes one Obsidian statue as the bears are continuing to chase. Warden could perhaps get into position there, but the bears should just retreat. This is one of those situations where Moon knows that he does not need to engage in order to continue to grow his lead. He absolutely destroyed his opponent, has an economic advantage, and all he can really do right now is make up by training up all of those higher tier units. Dryads are not upgraded at all. Let's take a look at this. Dark Ranger, Lich, Undead sitting at level 3 here. We are going to continue to engage back once more, continuing the fight again. Warden is going to be in a little bit of trouble. There it goes, trying to get away. Where is it going to be going next? Dark Ranger now pulling back here. Warden in position, unable to finish off this Crypt Fiend as the units are now looking to back off here. We do see that the Warden is shadow melded here, and all we can really see is perhaps a little bit of free damage. There is a reveal. Crypt Fiend easily gets taken down as those 4 bears now continue to crawl on in. Low hit point Crypt Fiend. No, or Death Coil incoming is on time. There goes one bear. Fan of Knives getting all of those clustered armies. Lich down to death as the Warden now sitting at level 5. There is the GG. Moon easily taking game number 4 in this series. Please stay tuned for game number 5.